Sarmad-e Kashani may have been your average wandering naked gay Persian Jewish Sufi dervish who was executed by Aurangzeb in Delhi, but he was far from an average poet. Here's one of my favorites by him, and note that there are a few possible versions of the enigmatic third line. Sarmad jism ast o janash dar dast kas ast. Tiri ast o kamanash dar dast kas ast. Mikhost ke adam shavad az dam jihad. Gavi shod o rismanash dar dast kas ast. Sarmad is just a body, and his soul is in someone else's hands. He is an arrow, and his bow is in someone else's hands. He wanted to be a human, or freed, or a bird, from the trap, or illusion, or rooftop, of struggle, or the world. Instead, he became an ox, and his rope is in someone else's hands. So there are a couple of ways to read this. One is more prosaic. Sarmad wanted to be free to exercise his free will as a bird flies away from the rooftop. But in the end, such striving was hopeless. The poet had no such free will, and all his actions were predestined. He couldn't escape fate, or he couldn't escape the temptations of the world. Biographically, we can imagine that these temptations might have included sex, love, adventure, money, courtly power, or just the feeling that life has any meaning outside of submission to destiny. But I think there's a more spiritual reading too. So Sarmad's worldly desire is his agency, his ego, his human belief that he's endowed with actual power. But at every turn he's confronted with the stark truth that all of his actions have an underlying cause, the cause of all things, which by the way is grammatically the name of God in Judaism. It can be read as the cause of existence. So the third line of the poem can be read like this. Sarmad, the ego, the body, the earthly creature, wants to be a human, stuck in the earthly trap, in that illusion that his striving and struggling means that he's something separate from the ultimate divine existence. But the real paradoxical freedom comes from the realization that he's just an ox who thinks he's in control, but he's still controlled by someone else, the eternal God. So it's not a tragic loss of free will as we might read it, but it's more like a complete ego loss, an acceptance of oneness with all things, and an acknowledgement that the jihad, that spiritual struggle, can itself be a mundane earthly pursuit. So it's radical, and it's religious, and it's kind of everything in between. So it's very cool that you can read this 4-line poem in a bunch of different ways. I don't even think I covered all of them. That's a lot of meaning packed into like 48 syllables. Take that, Robert Frost. So which reading do you prefer? The fatalist existentialist one or the mystical psychedelic one? I think the fact that both of them work can be a testament to Sarmad's strange, contradictory life story that I talked about in the last video. Anyway, let me know if you want more Sarmad or if you have any other interpretation